What's up, everybody? My name is Kimberly Matthews, and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you chose to join me today and spend a little time with me today. Today we're going to continue our topic of mindset or mind mastery, and this is actually going to be a part two from last week. So, last week we talked about mind mastery, and I gave 5 tips on how we can begin to develop this mastery of our mind. And so, I'm just going to quickly go over these 5 tips. And if you didn't get an opportunity to watch it, you can go back and check that video out. But the 5 tips I talked about were: have a vision, know who you are, which is your identity, and to know your purpose. And purpose is to know why you're here. And the fourth thing was develop a strategy, and the fifth thing was be intentional. And being intentional is actually today's topic. I think it's so very important that we learn how to live intentionally, to be intentional in everything that we do. That is something that I am practicing more and more, being intentional and being consistent. So today we're going to talk about being intentional, and I know this is going to help you to get to that next level, that next step in your life. So let's get into it. So first I wanted to start off with saying, to giving a definition of intent, or to be intentional. This is a definition that I got from Merriam-Webster online, and it says that to be intentional is or to have an intent is what one intends to attain or accomplish. And so that's kind of, just a very broad definition, I think, but I really want to get more into it. So as I was thinking about it and going over these things, I have my own personal definition of what it is to be intentional. So if you have pencil and pad, go ahead and write this down. And if you don't, if you're driving in your car, or washing dishes or doing the laundry, at a later time, I want you to write this definition down. So anyway, my personal definition is to pursue a goal or idea deliberately or purposefully, is to engage in actions to deliberately cause or attain a particular result. And so how this plays out in our lives is, um, being intentional is to have a goal or result in mind. And so this means that each day we should have that day plotted or planned out with actions to get that result. So remember how I was talking about how we have to develop a strategy, and on the last video I talked about how strategy really comes out of vision. And so you have vision, you have strategy, and from that strategy you get goals, and then from those goals is what you go about step by step each day. And so that's what we have to begin to do. We want to be intentional. And so when you have a strategy, that's the beginning of walking out this type of intentional mindset, where each day I'm going to do something to get myself closer to the result or the objective that I have in mind. So we want to be deliberate in our actions each day. We want to order our day. So don't go through life just letting your day happen to you. I know sometimes we, if it's on a weekend or vacation, we just kind of get up and we let the day take us where it may. But that can't be, our lifestyle. That can't be how we go about our business. If we want results, if we want to meet our objectives and to reach our goals, we have to plan our day in a direction that gets us to that place, helps us reach those goals. So maybe each night or at the end of your work day, go about in your calendar, in your phone, go about continually having that vision, continually having that strategy, in the forefront of your mind, and say, okay, what do I need to do today, what do I need to do tomorrow, that gets me closer to where I want to go. So that it really is part of ordering your day. You want to always have the mindset that this happened for me and not to me. And so this is especially, important when unwanted, unforeseen things happen. So say, you order out your day, you have things planned in your day, and then something happens in your day that you didn't plan, that you didn't know that was going to happen. Life happens to us all. No matter how much we plan, sometimes wrenches get thrown in, and we have to be able to adjust. We have to be able to pivot and make that wrench work for us. So if we already have the mentality or the attitude that this is going to work for my good, this is in the end, this is going to be to my advantage, whether it's something that makes your business or your family better, or maybe it just helps you to get stronger, or helps you become more resilient or more patient. But whatever the case may be, it is something that happened for you, something that makes you better. And so I do want to reference this particular scripture in Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And I'm just reading the last part of it. And it says, and we know all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. And so now, this really is a promise to those who, love God. So, if you don't believe God, believe in God, then it's going to be more difficult for you to be consistent in taking on this mentality. Um, so we know that all things work together for our good. And so, like I said, this is a promise for those who love God. And how do you know if you love God? You know that if you love God, if you are doing all that he requires, us to do. So that's just a little side note in there. But again, we want to always have the mentality that this is happening for me and not to me. And so, just to clarify, this is actually, a principle, or a law that if we engage in it, it will work for us. So, this is the principle of intention, and it's something that we should put into practice, something that we should engage in on a continual basis. So, just to give you a clear, idea of this principle, so that you can begin to engage in it and put it in effect in your life. This particular principle simply states that you having a clear goal or objective in mind, and then determining or deciding in your full being that this is a foregone conclusion and that there is only to walk out the steps. So if you go through your life with this mindset, with this, intentional frame of mind, then you will more than likely be able to get the results that you want. So, you do have to, there's still some practical applications that you have to go into. You have to, obviously follow through on some, steps. You have to do corresponding, actions. You have to be able to overcome any challenges that most likely will come your way as you are endeavoring to complete your goals. But that's what makes that's why being intentional is so important, because you will have challenges. You will have things and people that come in your way and say you can't do this, or this isn't going to happen. But if you are intentional, you're going to say, no, I don't care what you say. I don't care what happens. This is happening. I am doing this. And so I believe that this particular principle is one of the keys to bringing about manifestation the way that God would have us to do. And so I do want to give you a quick example of someone who was intentional. And this is a biblical example. Um, and so you can find this particular example in Romans chapter 4, verse 17. And this particular verse talks about how we can call those things that do not exist as though they did. And that's what intentional is being. It's basically, this is so real to me. Like, this is basically a foregone conclusion for me. This is already happening. And so you are now speaking in such a way about things that don't exist in your physical reality. You're speaking about them as though they actually did exist in your physical reality, because in your mind, it's already done. And so this example that I want to use is Abraham and Sarah. If you're not familiar with these people, they're first introduced in Genesis. And so you can go back and, if you have time, you can go back and read about Abraham and Sarah and their story and why they are, mentioned. But just to give you a quick backdrop of their story, Abraham and Sarah, they weren't able to have kids. They really wanted kids, and they weren't able to have kids. And Abraham prayed about it, and he heard God say that he was going to have kids, and that he was going to have kids with Sarah. And so part of their issue was that Sarah was barren, and she was not able to have kids. And so, but Abraham believed God when he said, no, you're going to have kids. You're going to have kids with, or you're going to have a son with Sarah. And so what happened was, it was years and years going by. And so Abraham, even though he was old, and it happened that so much time passed that not only was Sarah barren, but so much time had passed that it got to the point where Sarah was past childbearing age. Like, even if she wasn't barren, she had got to the age where she couldn't even have kids anyway. Like, she was gone through like menopause, so she wasn't able to pass the age where she could, even if she could in the beginning. So, but the thing about Abraham was that he didn't consider any of these challenges or any of these barriers, but he believed what God said. And when he finally became resolved, when he finally became intentional about it, like, I'm not doing any more tricks. I'm not trying to make this happen on my own. I'm just gonna believe God. And he did that, and he was intentional, and he went in, with his wife, and they did what they had to do to get this baby. And it was so, and they named this baby Isaac. And so this principle of intention, we can do this in any area of our lives. Anyone can do it. Be intentional about their life, whether you're a parent, a student, supervisor, CEO, business owner, homemaker. Anybody can be purposeful. Anybody can have a clear objective in mind, and then be deliberate about their actions. They can, get this result in their mind so heavily and so sturdy that for them it's a foregone conclusion. The only difference is between someone who doesn't follow the promises of God, or engage in the promises or necessary requirements of God. The difference is that you might not have the grace or favor to go through the challenges that will indeed come. It might be harder for you to deal with those things, and those things, that challenges that do come up that seem impossible, they might, those barriers of those impossible barriers may come to you and break your intentional mindset. But when you have God with you, he kind of, when those challenges come that look like they're impossible, his grace will be there to kind of back you up and to say, no, this, with me, this is possible. There's nothing impossible for me. So that is the difference. But again, anybody can walk in this principle of, intention. It's just a matter of, will you be able to make it through when those challenges come your way. So there is an element of faith that must be applied. And so this is really just, faith really just means to be confident in the promise given to them. They have to believe that is true. They have to believe that whatever promise was stated, whatever, they heard God say, whatever they're, believe, whatever they saw themselves doing is in fact true. And so that element of faith or confidence has to be there. And one has to be confident in his or her, abilities, in their gifts and talents, that this, I have the ability to do this. I am gifted enough. I am talented enough to accomplish this goal. So those of us that are intentional, we have to be confident that when we do the necessary actions, we will indeed accomplish our goal. And so, like I said, this all, there is an element of faith to this. And so, and I'm going to get into a principle of faith more in more detail on a later date. So I want to leave you with this call. I want to leave you with these few questions so that you can begin to start being more intentional. So the first thing I want you to be able to ask yourself and answer is, how can I be more intentional? The second one is, what can you do to align your days with your goals and objectives? So first you want to get a goal, and then what can you do every day to be able to reach that goal? And I heard someone recently say in a message they were giving, Dr. Cindy Trim. I really enjoy hearing her speak, but she asked this question. The question that she asked, I believe she might have read it in a book, but it was, what one thing can you change that will change everything? And so for me, that was like, oh wow, that was really thought provoking for me. So what one thing can I change about myself that would change everything? Because a lot of times where we are in our lives, whether we like it or dislike it, is because of the choices that we've made, because of the things that we've done, because of the attitude, the mindset that we have. So if there's something that we don't like, what one thing can we change that will change everything? So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you continue on your journey to getting the life that you want, getting the abundant life that is promised to each and every one of us. So thank you for watching today. Continue to follow and like and subscribe and tell other people about it. If it helped you, go and tell a friend so that their lives can be changed as well. So I will be back next week, and so I hope you have a blessed and prosperous week, and I will see you all later. Bye.